Comic Boom.
Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Event Leviathan number 6. Now let's get right to it. Everybody knows who's been watching my reviews is that I'm not a huge fan of this event so far because I find it to be somewhat of a non-event. Leviathan doesn't appear to be all that interesting. And but nonetheless, this is something that has been, at least in advertising, DC has really been given this Event Leviathan a big push. They have placed, I think, a disproportionate amount of their advertising talking about Event Leviathan. Of course, nobody is talking about it. That's what really stands out, is that nobody really seems to care. The sales are terrible for the series. Nobody really seems to be paying any attention about Event Leviathan. And with this issue 6, it's solidified and made clear as to why this series is such an abysmal failure and why nobody cares. The writing is quite awful, and I'm going to go through it slow enough, and it's going to become very clear as to why this is a failed narrative. And this is not rocket science. I'll even give some credit where credit's due in terms of what could have worked had it been done differently, but there's just not a lot there. And I have to say that the just the overall plan here, the motivation of Leviathan is something which just doesn't stand up to scrutiny. And you'd think that a kindergarten student came up with this plot. It's really insulting. It's insulting to the readership. It's insulting to the history of DC Comics intelligentsia in terms of Spiral, Argus, and all these organizations that basically make up the intelligence agencies, Task Force X, Suicide Squad, all these intelligence agencies that make up the DC universe, to have them all basically uniformly destroyed by this idiot. And he's an idiot, Leviathan. If at first you thought he was intelligent, just wait, you'll see how much of an idiot he is. But understand that the only way that you can make an idiot appear intelligent is by making everybody who's looking for the idiot dumber than the idiot. And that's what Bendis has managed to do masterfully in this Event Leviathan. So, issue 5 ended with Kate Spencer blabbering Bendis speak, not making a lot of sense. For whatever reason, again, nonsensically, suddenly Damian asks Kate Spencer about her rod, her Manhunter rod, and for some reason, suddenly Kate Spencer becomes a suspect because there's other Manhunters. Because there's other Manhunters, apparently that's a clue that, well, I guess because Bendis hasn't squeezed, there's a couple characters that Bendis forgot to write in the book. Apparently, it's almost like the characters broke the fourth wall and realized, wait a minute, you mean there's other Manhunters we don't know about? They must be Manhunter. That was the logic there. It was never explained, and again, this is a mystery with no clues. This is not a story. This is not an actual mystery where you can put together the clues and where it leads you to a particular person. This was a horribly put together storyline where there's people standing around talking and accomplishing nothing, providing no clues to the readers. And everyone sounds the same. Horrible, horrible, horrible. By the way, look at the cover of issue number 6. Does that not symbolize just how bad this series is? This is how exciting this series is, that we finally get to issue 6. And what do we have on the cover? They are literally a bunch of characters standing around doing nothing. As a matter of fact, on the cover, not only are they doing nothing, which is what they do in the actual series proper, but on the cover, they're actually not even talking this time. So not only are they doing nothing on the cover, there isn't even a word balloon on the cover. But I suppose that's common not to have word balloons on the cover, but terrible, terrible, terrible. But in any event, let's talk. This is hilarious when you get into the plot of what Leviathan is. This is what all this hype was, that Bendis has spent so much time basically hyping and talking about. So what's revealed essentially is that Leviathan's master plan is, well, last issue Sam Lane dies. Now there was chaos last issue because Leviathan attacked Sam Lane while Lois Lane was talking to her dad in the hospital, and she's protected by Zatanna and the other detectives, which are equally as incompetent as the standard detectives. And Lois Lane and Sam Lane get transported away from the hospital scene to a mountainside top, which is never explained how they end up on a mountainside. And then Sam Lane dies in Lois Lane's arms, and Sam Lane basically tells his daughter Lois that it's in the snowman's ticket. It's in the snowman's ticket that'll explain everything. And we don't know what the snowman's ticket is. By the way, the snowman's ticket is not referenced anywhere in issue 6. We still don't know what the snowman's ticket is. We still don't know much about what Sam Lane's involvement was. Other than this, apparently Sam Lane, many years ago when he was working for Argus, he utilized all his contacts. He came up with a theory. Sam Lane listened to all the frustration chatter on the dark web. And apparently there's a lot of people who are members of intelligence agencies all over the world that are equally frustrated with their respective governments. And Sam Lane theorized that if everybody who was frustrated, let me say that again. Sam Lane theorized, and he put this in a paper. Sam Lane theorized that if all the people who work for intelligence agencies are as frustrated as they're sounding in the frustration chatter on the dark web, that if they all got together, they could do a lot of damage to the world. And Sam Lane came up with a scenario that if they implemented the scenario, they could take over the world governments. Sam Lane came up with the theoretical plan that could be implemented if enough of these frustrated intelligence officials that make up the large part of the intelligentsia on the entire planet, that if they got together and they did certain things, they would be able to do massive damage to the world economy. And of course the secret would be to release all the secrets at once, and in the chaos that would follow in releasing all the government and secrets and the economy secrets and the bank account secrets and releasing all that information, that basically you could create total world chaos. Sam Lane came up with that theory, and Mark Shaw, the Manhunter, Mark Shaw is the Manhunter. This guy named Mark Shaw, who's the original Manhunter, he read this. He was a member of the intelligentsia as well. He worked for, he at one time worked for Suicide Squad. He worked for various intelligence agencies. He saw this and he thought this was just brilliant. And so that's all that this is. This is Leviathan. Mark Shaw becoming Leviathan. Mark Shaw, who was Manhunter, became Leviathan. And he got together all these disgruntled intelligence operatives all over the world. And he inspired them or otherwise coerced them into joining his team. And that's the big plan, that they want to get together all at once and then release all the secrets all at once to the world. And in the chaos that follows, they're going to pick up the pieces and Leviathan's going to be in control. Now, that sounds ridiculous. Because I know you have to be thinking what I'm thinking. You don't have to, but at some point you're probably going to be wondering, what sense does that make? What sense does that make? Now, Sam Lane, because this was Sam Lane's theoretical plan, that he's, he does a lot of times governments do, they do scenarios. They do war game scenarios where they try different things. They theorize different things. What would happen if this happened, or what would happen if this happened, or what if certain people did this, or what if this particular army did this, or what if there was a currency war here? What would the outcome be? How can we prepare for it? Intelligence agencies come up with different war scenarios and battle scenarios, sort of like D&D, but governments do that because they need to prepare for the worst. So that's what Sam Lane basically did. And so then along comes Leviathan, and he takes that and he creates Leviathan. Now, what's insane about this is that he's recruiting all these people. He feels he's got to destroy all the intelligence agencies. Now, think about this for a second. All the intelligence agencies on the planet. Now, this is all of them. This is the nonsense of this plot. All of the intelligence agencies in the DC universe, all of them are taken over by Leviathan. Every single one of them. I mean, this is kindergarten nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But every single one of them is taken over by Leviathan. So let's step back and think for a second here, guys. You want to see how absurd this is? I've never come up, there's never been a plot like this that has been written by the big two, called an event that was absolutely this beyond stupid. Beyond stupid. And good God, I've read a lot of comics. This is beyond stupid. So we're talking the FBI, the CIA, we're talking all the KGB, whatever's left of it, Russia's intelligence agencies, the Israeli Mossad, and all the intelligence agencies all over the planet, every single one, for France, for Britain, for the United Nations, every single intelligence agencies, every single intelligence agency is otherwise compromised, or the majority of them now working for Leviathan. Every single one of them. Leviathan has taken over everything. And all the smartest people amongst every single intelligence agency in the DC universe is sympathetic for Leviathan because of a paper. A freaking paper that Sam Lane wrote 10 years ago or whatever the hell it is. And everything's going to fall apart. And their master plan is they're going to release all the secrets. So let's go with that now. Let's just talk that nonsense for a second. By the way, it's written terribly, the dialogue's terrible and everything else, and I had to piece this all together by I'm giving Bendis the benefit of the doubt because this is all terribly explained. But in any event, let's follow this through for a second. So now, just think about this, if every secret, every bank account was released, if every bank account, every phone number, every government secret, every government every secret of the economy, everything, every secret that any intelligence agency knew was released all at once, at the same second, all over the planet. What do you think would happen? Seriously. Well, this isn't difficult to imagine. I'll tell you exactly what would happen. Not much. Why? It's really simple, because everybody would know everyone's bank account. There would be too much information. This is a very common phenomenon. There would be too much information. We live in a world where secrets aren't the problem. The problem is we live in a world with too much information. There aren't secrets out there. The problem is there's too much information out there. We can't filter the information fast enough. So Bendis, you should have thought about this before you wrote this. Connect the dots in your brain. If you release all the secrets, or whatever Leviathan thinks is a secret, to the world all at once, nothing's going to happen. If people know my bank account, I'm going to go and change my bank account. And if somebody takes my money, I'll just take somebody else's money. Will there be temporary chaos for a couple weeks? Yeah, whoop-de-doo. Everything's going to breeze over, everything's going to be fine, and then everyone's going to start over. And then you're not going to be able to pick up the pieces, Leviathan, because when you reveal all the secrets, what do you think the chances are that the secrets aren't going to be revealed about you? Since you already revealed your identity to Superman. So your plan wasn't that bright, was it? And not only wasn't it that bright, it was ridiculously easy to figure out, because at the end of this issue, Lois Lane does something that she thinks is intelligent, but even a first grader could figure out. Well, she publishes who Leviathan is and says this was his plan. Isn't he an idiot? By the way, his name's Mark Shaw. This is the big mastermind behind it all. Is that the big deal? And what are the governments going to do? Well, as I said, this isn't much of a threat. If the government loses an intelligence agency, they're just going to form another one. So who the heck cares about Leviathan? Who the heck cares if Leviathan destroys Spiral or destroys Task Force X? They're just going to make another one. How is that a threat? This is crazy. Now, what's at stake? So now all we have is a glorified Leviathan. Now he's just a glorified terrorist. And he's a joke. He's a joke. There's no stakes being raised here. And by the way, so the plot itself is absolute. There's nothing at stake. This is a joke. This is laughable. Absolutely laughable. And sadly, guys, I hate to say it, but it's not over yet. Now we have Leviathan Dawn flowing out of this. They didn't even catch Leviathan. Not that it matters. The guy's not a threat anyway. He's a joke. It's like, oh no, he's going to release a bunch of bank account information. Really? Give me a break. This guy's not a threat to anybody. He's a joke. And you know why I know he's a joke? Aside from the reasons I said, because all it took was Batgirl to thwart his plans. Batgirl. Burnside Batgirl. You know, she's not pining over Dick Grayson. I'm sorry, Rick Grayson. She's busy infiltrating Leviathan. And while she's there, by the way, Batgirl thwarted the entire plan. So we didn't need any of the detectives. All we needed was Batgirl. Batgirl thwarted everything. She did it all by herself. I'm going to say this again. Batgirl thwarted Leviathan's plans all by herself because while she was infiltrating Leviathan, because Leviathan thought that Batgirl was on her side, while she was within Leviathan, somehow Amanda Waller showed up and gave Batgirl a device that holds all the secrets to Leviathan. All of them. All the secrets that Leviathan was going to release were in a device. Amanda Waller shows up and gives that to Batgirl. But guess what? We don't see any of this. None of this is actually shown in the comic book. How much did we see Amanda Waller in this entire series? We saw her very briefly, and we barely saw Batgirl. We saw Batgirl show up in issue 4, I think, telling Batman that she had infiltrated Leviathan. But that was it. Batgirl now shows up out of the blue. Out of the blue and says, I have this device. They can't release any. Batgirl shows up, tells Batman and the detectives what Leviathan's secret is. Because Batgirl figured it out because when she infiltrated Leviathan, and we never saw any of this, by the way. We saw none of this. Batgirl just did this all off screen, all off panel. For 6 issues, Batgirl was doing all of this off panel. All of the actions taken to defeat Leviathan by Batgirl, we never saw any of it. It was all off panel. This was Bendis' masterful storytelling, people. This was his masterful storytelling. He said he wanted to give Alex Maleev something to draw because it was in Alex Maleev's wheelhouse. Well, thank you. We got a bunch of standing people, talking heads or people standing around, doing nothing. Let's be clear on that, doing nothing. Not only doing nothing, but the people that were doing something, namely Batgirl and Amanda Waller, they were doing it off panel. We never saw them do any of it. Thank you, Bendis. Thank you for a fantastic story. I'm not making this up. Bendis is. If I was making it up, it probably would make a little bit more sense. But then there wouldn't be talking heads. There'd be a little action going on here. And Leviathan, well, Leviathan would have been killed off in the final panel because the guy's a joke. He offers absolutely nothing of substance to the villainy of the DC Universe. Get rid of this embarrassment. Absolute embarrassment. Sadly, he's now going off, and we have to deal with Leviathan now in the pages of Action Comics. This guy's not going away. This joke of a character's not going away. And just, you want to know how stupid Leviathan is? Aside from being defeated by Batgirl, apparently he never bothered to make a copy of all the secrets that he has. So all these secrets that he wants to release, I guess he never made a copy of it because he needed one device in order to release all the secrets all at once. You think you'd make a copy of it? I mean, isn't that kind of like Bad Guy School 101? When you have when you have a secret powerful device, have more than one of them? Or if you have a memory disk, maybe have a copy of it? But no. This is an issue that actually deals with all the combined brilliance of the intelligence agencies of the DC Universe. It would not occur to the combined brilliance of the intelligence agencies to make a copy of the device that they need to fulfill their actual plan. No, that's nonsense, isn't it? Absolute craziness here. But hey, that's what you got to swallow in order to get this story. One thing has to be said here, and I've already said a version of this already, but I'm going to double down on it. Leviathan is now, in my view, no longer much of a threat. Now, why would I say that? Well, it's really simple. Because all that the governments have to do of the entire world is simply purge their intelligence networks. They're going to start their own intelligence agencies all over again. And they're going to start creating new secrets. So, how is Leviathan a threat? Leviathan is basically a glorified terrorist organization that every single intelligence agency on the planet is now going to be hunting. And they're going to hire more brilliant people to go after Leviathan. So how is Leviathan a threat? What is Leviathan going to do? Leviathan doesn't have a country. It doesn't have a government in which to back it. It doesn't have a country upon which it can lawfully be part of or to have a headquarters in. The entire planet is after Leviathan. What is Leviathan going to do? Leviathan has failed. Spectacularly, I might add. Failed. Everyone knows who Leviathan is. Everyone knows he's a manhunter. Was a former manhunter. He's got a bunch of people under him that are very good at maybe computer hacking. Whoop-de-doo. So he's basically now just like Cobra, right? Now Leviathan is like a glorified Cobra. Just another insignificant, thoroughly uninteresting character. I would much rather have Cobra, by the way, because at least Cobra was interesting. Leviathan, how is this guy interesting? Again, I just don't understand. He's done nothing that's interesting. What has he done that's interesting? You know, Lois Lane said something which I thought, I'll give the poor little baby a soother. She said that they did my dad right in front of me. No, they didn't. Lois Lane says that they did my dad right in front of me. That's not what happened, Lois. That's not what happened. Bendis, read your own comic. They attacked Sam Lane while he was in the hospital. He wasn't shot. He was already recovering from being shot before, I'll grant you that. But they didn't do Sam Lane right in front of you, Lois. You actually transported away in complete safety. And your dad died of a normal heart attack sustained from his initial injury. So it's not accurate to say that they did him right in front of you. They did try to take him out, yes. But, this was just all forced drama. This is the type of forced drama that you see in this storyline. And it just doesn't work. I don't feel any emotion. I got no emotional attachment to Sam Lane. He talks about the snowman's ticket. No mention. We don't even know what was in the snowman's ticket. We think we know because Lois mentions it, but she doesn't actually use the phrase snowman's ticket in issue 6. It's mentioned in issue 5 and I think in issue 3, but not in issue 6. So Sam Lane's secrets, we don't really know what the heck they were, but we also don't care. So what? Oh man, and again, the whole Batgirl and Amanda Waller winning the day, and we don't even see them. We don't. Batgirl wins the day, and we don't see anything that she did. Man, Bendis, you have lost it big time, man. You've done a really bad job here, and again, it's so disappointing. So in any event, 1 out of 10. I can't give it a 0 because Alex Maleev, again, Alex Maleev deserves a 1 out of 10 for his art. It's a boring artist. What can I say? It's a boring artist. And, I mean, if I was just looking at the art and I said, look, I have a really, really boring story here where nobody does anything, but they just talk. I need a great artist to talk, to illustrate boring people talking to each other about boring things. Who would I pick? Alex Maleev every time! Yeah! Absolutely. That cover, issue 6, fantastic. Look, people, they're standing, doing nothing. Fantastic. Man, I gotta get that variant cover, huh? Oh, wait, doesn't have a variant cover, does it? Or does it? I don't know. But more importantly, like Leviathan, I don't care. And you shouldn't either. But do what you want. Comic Boo.